Nothing had ever hurt like watching her prepare for the evening. She put on lingerie and stockings, carefully did her makeup, and styled her hair. Then she slipped into a dress I had never seen before and finished the look with high heels that completed an unfamiliar image. A wave of betrayal, jealousy, and rage swept over me. She wasn't dressing up for me. She was doing it for Mark Diamond, her boss. While I worked tirelessly to provide her with a comfortable life and a family, she was making herself irresistible for another man. It made no sense. Our marriage had been strong. Jessica was loving, attentive, and had never given me a reason to doubt her. After 20 years together, I couldn't imagine she would betray me. But everything changed a month ago at her company dinner. Mark, the managing partner of her law firm, was far too focused on Jessica. When he smirked at me after dancing with her, something deep inside told me something was wrong. The next day, I brought it up. Jessica immediately defended him, saying I was overreacting. Her reaction only deepened my suspicion. Suddenly, all the late meetings and missed dinners started to seem like warning signs. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. Jessica was Mark's personal assistant. He was wealthy, flashy, and arrogant. A man who flaunted his success with sports cars, designer watches, and a trophy wife half his age. His first wife of 20 years had been replaced by a stunning 30-year-old named Stella. Mark never treated me well. He prided himself on belittling others. I'll never forget the night he mocked my career in front of my wife and her colleagues. "So, Johnny, how's life? Selling nuts and bolts? Must be great. Sweating away at Honda every day," he sneered. Jessica laughed, and it cut deep. My job wasn't glamorous, but I earned over $200,000 a year, provided my family with a good life, and paid for our daughter's college. But in Mark's world, that wasn't enough. I stormed out. Jessica followed and asked what was wrong. When I told her, she waved it off. "Oh, baby, he's just joking. He likes to have fun. Don't take it so seriously. Come back in, he's a good guy." I stayed, against my better judgment. Looking back, I should have been more alert. The signs were there. Mark had everything: money, power, a young wife. But men like him always wanted more. And I had a feeling Jessica was next on his list. I wasn't going to sit and wonder. Within a week, I began to put a plan into motion. I ordered 6 audio recorders and 5 high-resolution video cameras. One went into the smoke detector in our bedroom. Others were placed at various angles to capture everything. More were hidden in the bathroom and living room. The recorder streamed footage live to a computer in the attic, all managed from my phone. I even hid listening devices in her favorite handbags, her car, and one near the kitchen phone. By the time I finished, I knew I would hear at least 90% of what was happening in our home. As I packed for my business trip, I was filled with a bad feeling. Jessica, as always, was affectionate and made love to me just like she always did before I left. She whispered how much she loved me, how badly she wanted me. But this time, I wasn't sure if I believed her. Her warmth and affection had always been my anchor, and I had never doubted it. "I love you so much," she whispered, her voice soft and full of emotion. "Being with you like this means everything to me." Tears shimmered in her eyes as she smiled at me. "I love you too, honey. You're amazing, and I'll love you forever." That night was magical. The connection between us felt so deep, so real, that I almost convinced myself my doubts were foolish. There was no way she could betray me. For a moment, I thought of abandoning the plan. Thankfully, I didn't. Instead, I left everything in place and headed off for my 2-day trip, giving her just enough time, if there was something to uncover. We kissed goodbye, and by 6 in the evening, I was on the road for the 3-hour drive to my hotel. As I drove, my mind replayed the last 6 months, looking for signs, besides the 2 unpleasant encounters with her boss. The way he never smiled, his attempt to belittle me. Nothing had changed. I chuckled, thinking I was probably being paranoid. Home surveillance cameras. I didn't expect to find much, but I wanted to check the system. Skimming through the past 3 hours, I stopped when Jessica appeared in our bedroom. I slowed the footage to normal speed and watched as she lounged on the bed, talking on the phone. At first, I just admired her. But then I heard a conversation I never expected. Hey, baby, he's gone. The whole house is mine. Yeah, this time for 2 nights. When can you come over? Your wife won't notice. Oh, God, that's perfect. Will you stay the night? I want to wake up next to you. Of course, I'm all yours. What time? Okay, see you soon. I love you, baby. I froze. Just an hour ago, we had one of the most passionate nights of our lives. She told me again and again that she loved me. And now here she was inviting him into my home, into my bed. Who was this woman? How could she love me like that and then betray me so easily? Was he really coming over? I didn't have to wonder for long. Within the next hour, I watched Jessica prepare for his arrival. She showered, put on seductive lingerie, styled her hair, did her makeup, and topped it all off with high heels. Something she never did for me. Watching it was both agonizing and mesmerizing. I had always known she was sensual, but seeing her transform into a seductive, unattainable version of herself, meant for another man, I was stunned. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe he wouldn't actually show up. My last hope died when the doorbell rang. Jessica opened the door, and there he was, Mark Diamond, grinning like he owned the world. The camera caught him pulling her into a deep kiss. My stomach twisted, and I barely made it to the bathroom before I threw up. Wow, baby, Mark said, looking her up and down. You look incredible. I can't wait to get you out of that dress and have you all night. His words made my blood boil, but the real pain hit when Jessica took his hand and led him into our bedroom. I sat in stunned silence, forced to watch her undress him, revealing a chiseled body women would swoon over. My emotions were a storm, a painful mix of rage, jealousy, and disbelief. As much as I hated it, I had to admit he was an impressive bastard. My insides tightened as I watched. The nausea returned, and I barely survived another wave before forcing myself back to the screen. I should have looked away. I should have shut it all off, but I couldn't. For the next hour, I listened in agony to their moans, their whispers, their betrayal. Then came a conversation as they lay wrapped in each other's arms. Mark spoke first. So he's really gone for 2 nights? Jessica sighed contentedly. Yes, I'm all yours, baby. I wanted to wake up next to you for so long. I love being with you. Jessica, he chuckled, I can't wait to keep doing this over and over while your husband's off working his ass off. What an idiot. She playfully nudged him. Be nice. He's a good man, and I do love him. Then why are you here with me? Jessica hesitated before answering. Because you're the most attractive man I've ever met, and the connection between us is insane. But we both need to protect our marriages. It makes sense. Mark, she continued, you make me feel more love and passion than my husband or any woman I've ever been with. This isn't just about sex. I love the way you make me feel. Those words cut the deepest. That love was supposed to be mine. But it wasn't. Not anymore. As I continued watching, they kissed, whispered, and held each other close. Then Mark asked a question that sealed my fate. Does he satisfy you the way I do? Jessica paused and admitted, he's a wonderful lover, but no, not like you. You do things to me I can't even explain. The final blow. I sat there staring at the screen, drowning in sorrow and rage. I reached for the laptop and slammed it shut. I couldn't listen anymore. Hours passed as I lay in bed, unable to sleep, consumed by fury, grief, and the searing pain of betrayal. One thing was clear. This wouldn't end without pain, and I would make sure I wasn't the only one to suffer. When I got home, everything felt normal. The love, the warmth, the routine, as if nothing had happened. Jessica greeted me with open arms, showering me with kisses and affection. She acted exactly the same as always, like no dark secret was hiding beneath the surface. But for me, everything had changed. Instead of love, I felt only disgust. Her touch gave me chills. Her kisses made me recoil. Still, I played my part flawlessly, acting like nothing had happened. I collected all the footage and audio recordings, saved multiple copies to cloud, and locked everything in encrypted files on my computer. Over the next 2 weeks, I kept Jessica completely occupied. filling her time so she barely had a spare moment to sneak away for a quick or secret meeting. Eventually, her frustration became obvious. Then, one morning, I heard her on a call while driving to work. "When's he leaving town again?" "I don't know, but I'll find out," she replied. "It needs to happen soon, baby." That was all I needed to hear. It confirmed everything. I decided to set up one more trip, short, just to see if he'd take the bait. Everything lined up. That same evening, as we sat on the couch watching a movie, Jessica casually asked, "Babe, when's your next work trip?" I felt my blood boil, but forced a smile and jokingly replied, "Why, trying to get rid of me? You don't happen to have a secret lover who visits when I'm gone, do you?" She didn't flinch, didn't hesitate. "Don't be silly. I like having you home. I just hope you won't have to leave anytime soon. Sorry, sweetheart, but work always, it required me to travel. In fact, I had a late meeting on Tuesday night. I'll be back sometime Wednesday." She sighed, pretending to be disappointed. "I hate when you're gone. I miss you so much when you travel." Then she slipped onto my lap, wrapped her arms around me, and kissed me deeply. She put love into that kiss, the same love she had given to another man. I had to summon all my strength not to push her away. Instead, I played along, knowing that soon my plan would be in motion. Tuesday arrived. I packed my bag, kissed Jessica goodbye, and we spent one last night together. The final time we were intimate. She kissed me as she always did, but this time I wondered if she noticed the sadness in my eyes. For a moment, her expression changed, but whatever she thought, she said nothing. Instead of leaving town, I went to my office and parked my car. It wasn't unusual for me to work late, so no one questioned my presence. When I returned to my desk at 7:30 p.m., the surveillance camera notified me that Mark had arrived. He entered my home like he belonged there, pulled my wife into his arms, and kissed her with an intimacy that was meant only for me. Showtime. I turned off the video stream from my phone and locked in my drawer. No GPS, no digital trace. Quietly slipping out of the office, I retrieved a foldable electric bike from my trunk, silent and efficient. It could reach up to 30 miles per hour and had a 50-mile range on one charge. I pulled my hood over, looked around, and took off. The bike let me move undetected. 20 minutes later, I reached the house and slipped into backyard, where I had left the sliding door unlocked. My heart pounded as I stepped inside, listening for any sound. Upstairs, I heard them. I grabbed the aluminum bat hidden in the closet and retrieved the short-barrel rifle I kept outside the bedroom. Holding the bat tightly, I crept to the door. They were too caught up in their pleasure to notice me. When I entered, candles flickered, casting a soft glow around the room. Jessica didn't sense a thing. Mark never saw me coming. The bat struck hard, and Mark lost his balance. His muscular body hit the floor with a dull thud. I reached for the rifle I had set aside and turned on the light. Jessica gasped. Her eyes widened in shock, and she recoiled. Her whole body froze in fear. "Oh, God, no. This can't be. Why are you here? You were supposed to be gone." I stared at her. My voice was cold and controlled. "The real question is why there's another man in my bed." Mark, still stunned, groaned and held his head where he had been hit. He slowly leaned against the wall, his face shifting from confusion to panic as he realized the situation. "God, that hurts," he muttered. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I snapped. "You sneak into..." If either of you even thinks about dragging my name into this, all the evidence I've collected, videos, photos, phone records, will be sent straight to his wife and his firm's partners. In addition, I've created a website that will host 2 hours of your little escapades. I don't care what pathetic excuses you come up with, but my name better not come up. And one more thing, Mark, you're not firing Jessica. She'll need that paycheck once the divorce is finalized. If either of you comes after me or she doesn't agree to the divorce terms, it all goes public. Understood? They both remained silent. Jessica's tear-streaked face was pale, and Mark could barely breathe from the pain. Good. Now get him to a doctor. I left the same way I came in, locking the door behind me. The rifle and bat went into my shoulder bag, and I melted into the night, Reaching the river, I ditched the bat and rifle in separate places before removing the surgical gloves I had worn. By the time I returned to the office, I stored the bike in the car and was back at my desk by 9 p.m. I casually said goodbye to a few IT staff still working late. As far as anyone knew, my car had never left the parking lot. If anyone tried to accuse me of anything, it would be their word against mine, with no evidence. Mark underwent surgery. The doctors shaved his head to stitch an 18 centimeters wound and diagnosed concussion in his official statement. He said he remembered walking Jessica home with some documents and then waking up in the hospital. He claimed he didn't see anyone and didn't know what hit him. He knew better than to tell the truth. Jessica also stayed silent when questioned. She simply said she heard a loud noise, came outside, and found Mark on the ground. She insisted she drove him to the hospital herself, believing waiting for an ambulance would take too long. Neither of them could explain why he was naked, but they stuck to their stories. Unfortunately for Mark, his wife didn't believe it, and soon his personal problems far outweighed mine. By noon, I had removed all hidden cameras and microphones. Everything was uploaded to a secure encrypted cloud, and the devices were destroyed. Any evidence of their affair was well out of their reach. By 6 p.m., Jessica walked into the house and found me sitting in the living room with a bottle of whiskey on the table in front of me. She looked exhausted, drained, broken. I had never seen her like that before. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Then she spoke. "Johnny, I know what you saw looked terrible, but you have to understand, I wasn't in love with him." Her voice trembled, her eyes pleading. "I know how it looked, and I know the things I said must have hurt you. But you know me. After intimacy, I crave connection. What I said, those words, they weren't real. I always meant them only for you." Tears welled up in her eyes as she continued. "When you were gone, I hated being alone. Mark was just there. He kept me company. And yes, it turned physical, but it was never love. It was just closeness. Please, Johnny, you have to believe me." I sat there stunned, unable to believe the excuse that had come from her lips. I frantically tried to understand how she could justify what she'd done. "Jessica," I said. My voice was calm but sharp. "I heard everything you wanted to say. And even though you claim those words of love were meant for me, I know the truth. They were meant for him. It's over. 20 years of marriage ended because of your choice. Because of him. We both have to live with the consequences of what you did. So, congratulations. You caused a pain I will never forget." My words were full of sarcasm. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "What do we do now?" I didn't hesitate. "There is no we anymore. We're done. I'll never understand why you did it, and I'll have to live with that forever. Forgiveness isn't an option, but I'll keep my word. I won't expose your affair. Sarah and your parents will never know who you really are. I'll let you decide how to explain the divorce. But don't you dare make me the villain. If you try, I swear everyone will know the truth about who you really are." I paused. "I'm putting the house on the market. You need to find somewhere else to live. You broke this, so you're the one who leaves. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. Let me know where to send the divorce papers. Sign them without a fight, or you and your boyfriend will regret it." She buried her face in her hands and sobbed. "He's not my boyfriend. I don't love him. Please, isn't there a way to fix this? I know I messed up. I know I hurt you, but I can't live without you. I'll do anything to make it right. Just don't leave me." I shook my head. "Jessica, if it had only been physical, maybe, just maybe, we could have tried therapy or time apart. But it wasn't just that. You gave him what was meant only for me. You said to him the words that made our love meaningless. Those words killed us. They killed everything I ever felt for you. No, I will never forgive you. I will never get over this. And once this divorce is final, you will disappear from my life forever." She stayed for a few hours, but by morning, she was gone. While the house was on the market, she moved in with her parents. That week, the police questioned me, trying to link me to the Mark incident. I hired a lawyer, and we shut them down. Unless you have evidence, my client has nothing more to say. my lawyer told them. With no proof of my airtight alibi, they had no choice but to let me go. The official report listed it as a failed burglary. Jessica and her family kept calling me, begging me to reconsider. She loves you, they said. She's sorry. Please at least talk to her. Try therapy. Try to fix it. I ignored every call. When they came to my door, I didn't answer. Eventually, I changed my number. From that point on, I never spoke to any of them again. Yes, the loss was unbearable. Every day apart from her was torture, but the memory of what she did, how she gave her love to another man, was something I could never forget. Jessica's life collapsed at 42. She lived alone in a tiny one-bedroom apartment, surviving on her salary. The comfortable life she once had was gone. Worse, Sarah and the rest of her family found out the truth. They were furious and placed all the blame on her. Her daughter no longer looked at her the same, and her parents were ashamed. Jessica lost everything. As for Mark, he wasn't going to keep her around at work. He distanced himself, refusing to acknowledge her beyond what was necessary. His frustration over the affair's fallout turned into resentment, and soon he removed her from his department. Although she kept the same salary, she was reassigned to a basic admin job. The prestige she once had disappeared. Rumors spread, people whispered behind her back, calling her just another one of Mark's discarded flings. She was no longer respected, stuck in a job she hated. Due to a lack of career prospects, the absence of a husband, friends, or family willing to defend her, Jessica fell into depression. Night after night, she cried over recent regrets. Each day was a painful reminder of what she had thrown away. Sarah tried to support her mother, but the damage had already been done. She watched Jessica wither away, barely eating, drinking too much, losing weight. No matter how hard Sarah tried to help, Jessica refused to pull herself together. "What's the point?" she would say. "Without Johnny, nothing matters." In desperation, Sarah came to me for advice. I told her how sorry I was for what she had to endure, but made it clear that I would never forgive Jessica and would never speak to her again. Meanwhile, Mark's life hadn't improved much. His wife, Stella, wasn't one to forgive and forget. She made his life a living hell. He was forced to live in one of the guest rooms, constantly humiliated and reminded of his mistake. She took full control of their marriage, dictating every aspect of it. Then she began dating younger men right in front of him, but never left. She stayed, maintaining the illusion of his career, ensuring he paid all the bills while she lived as she pleased. Mark had lost everything. Sure, he had money, but he would never again know the love of a woman who truly cared for him. His infidelity cost him far more than he had ever anticipated. And as much as he wanted revenge, as much as he burned with anger toward me, he couldn't do anything, because, in the end, I had already won. That year, an unexpected attack nearly cost me my life. I was drinking with colleagues when a group of men assaulted me outside the bar. They held nothing back, delivering brutal blows until my co-workers ran to my aid. By the time the police arrived, my attackers had vanished into the night. I ended up in a hospital with broken ribs and 20 stitches. Lying in that hospital bed, I had no doubt who was behind it. Mark had finally made his move. If my friends hadn't been there, I might not have survived. But I wasn't surprised. I had expected this. 6 weeks later, once I'd recovered enough to move without wincing, I called his office. "Mr. Diamond, please," I said, the receptionist. "He's in a meeting. May I take a message?" "Yes. Tell him to meet me at the French deli across the street. 1 o'clock this Friday." "I'm sorry, sir. I don't schedule appointments for Mr. Diamond." "Just write it down. Friday, 1 p.m., French deli. Alone. Tell him Johnny said so. He'll understand." When he walked in, I was sitting at a corner table facing the door. His expression darkened when he saw me. He hesitated, then approached. "Sit down," I said. He pulled out a chair and stared at me intently. "What do you want?" Ignoring his hostility, I leaned forward. "Glad you came. Your guys did a number on me, but unfortunately for you, they didn't finish the job. I warned you not to retaliate, and now here we are." Since you couldn't let it go, now I have to act. I placed a folded piece of paper on the table. This is a link to a little website I created. Don't try to take it down. It's hosted overseas on 3 backup servers in unknown locations. It's impossible to delete. Mark unfolded the paper and frowned. Check it when you get back to the office. You'll find 2 hours of premium footage, starring you. But don't worry, I blurred Jessica's face. She's already lost enough because of you. This is about your sins, not hers. His fist clenched. You already destroyed my life, he snapped. I'll never be the same again. Just stop this before it goes too far. That's why we're here, Mr. Diamond, I said calmly. To end it. You took the most important person in my life. You destroyed a 20-year marriage, and even after I walked away, you still came after me. Well, now it's my turn. His shoulders tensed. What do you want? 2 things are non-negotiable. First, you stop all retaliation against me, my family, and Jessica. No more games, no attacks, no interference. Second, you transfer $1 million to this account by 9 p.m. on Friday. Consider it compensation for the lawsuit I could file against you. This is only a fraction of what I could win in court, and we both know that. Call it a gift. He exhaled sharply. And if I agree, how do I know you won't release the footage anyway? I met his eyes. You don't. You'll have to trust me. But here's what I can promise. If you don't pay, the site goes live Saturday morning. Your firm, your wife, your kids, and every client you have will see your little home movie. You ended my happiness. Mark, if you refuse, I'll make sure you suffer for the rest of your life. The deal was struck. The money was transferred. The house was sold, and the assets divided. Jessica had enough to live comfortably while working or finding someone new. She kept her job, part of my deal with Mark, but he never treated her the same again. Her life never fully recovered. Jessica never remarried. She rarely dated. I lingered near her like a shadow, full of regret. She had lost a man she once believed would be hers forever, and the weight of that realization never left her. Years passed, and depression consumed her. She became withdrawn, isolated, a shadow of the woman she once was. By the time she was nearly 50, her health had deteriorated. That bright, confident woman I had once loved was gone. On the day of her death, only Sarah was by her side and scattered her ashes. As for me, I worked a few more years before retiring to a quiet seaside town. I remarried to a kind woman who made me laugh, with whom I shared a deep emotional and physical connection. She was good to me, but I never again felt the kind of love that happens once in a lifetime. Jessica was that love, and she destroyed it. Sarah and I remained close. She was the only link to my past I still held on to. We spoke every day, though she rarely mentioned her mother. She knew the wounds had never fully healed. When I heard of Jessica's passing, I felt an unexpected mix of sorrow and relief. Her death marked the end of something long buried, the pain I had carried for too many years. While I mourned the woman she once was, I finally felt free,